people scared of you when they meet you?
I hope so.
I'm a little scared.
Curry was very specific on how far he wanted his actors to go commitment-wise. And, you know, if we weren't seeing that early on, just that ability to go there, then it was, you know, easy for us to move on and kind of focus on the actors that were really giving us a 10 out of 10 emotion-wise. Because as you can see, Nikki really has to go through a plethora of emotions throughout the film.
Yeah, okay, well, we've just been dating, okay? So
what can I do? Please tell me what I can do.
I want you just to be normal.
I can't be normal.
A couple byproducts of this film. Inde is a star. Like, Inde is an absolute megawatt star.
You have become the obsession of so many folks from Obsession.
Yeah.
What is it like, and did you know that this was going to be such a hit?
No, not at all. I feel like whenever we were making it, we had so much fun making it, and the fact that everybody else is kind of having this response, we're just like, oh my God, so we feel involved, but also kind of like, how did we get here? You know, it's just mind-boggling.
Every year, countless horror films fight for our attention. Some arrive with massive marketing campaigns, while others quietly slip into theaters, hoping to find an audience. But every once in a while, a film comes from nowhere and refuses to be ignored.
I think it's great that they had basically very little money, especially Obsession had under $1 million. And I have seen Obsession and I loved it. I loved it.
I can't believe it.
Obsession was one of those rare surprises. What started as an independent psychological horror film quickly became a global talking point, earning praise from critics, sparking discussions across social media, and introducing millions of viewers to a young actress whose performance lingered long after the credits rolled.
I think this film, a lot of Nikki's performances are a lot of emotion that we don't get to show on a day-to-day basis, and I think to portray that was very freeing.
Yeah, one of the things I really admire about your performance each time I've seen the movie is just I'm really realizing how you're playing multiple versions of Nikki. Where there's one movie at the beginning, but then throughout there's alternate ones, and so there's many layers to what's going on here. So
for many, this was the first time they had truly noticed her. But the real surprise wasn't simply discovering a new face in Hollywood. It was watching an actress deliver a performance that felt so emotionally layered that audiences couldn't decide whether to fear Nikki, feel sorry for her, or somehow do both at the same time.
I think obviously she's the girl that you have a crush on. She's a writer, she's super funny, she's very attentive, and that's obviously what Bear grapples onto. And who she becomes afterwards is kind of a shell of her person because she's no longer herself. You know, the story is told through Bear's perspective, so you kind of see her as Bear sees her.
In a genre where horror characters often become one-dimensional victims or villains, Nikki felt painfully human, and that wasn't an accident. One of the most fascinating things about Inde Navarrette's performance is that she never approached Nikki as the monster of the story. In multiple interviews, she explained that she saw Nikki as someone whose identity had been stolen, making her just as much a victim as anyone else. That single creative decision changed everything.
It's incredibly strong. I mean, she breaks through the wish on multiple occasions, and to do that has a lot of strength based on how strong the wish is.
How freaky it is, right, when you don't know somebody's intention, but also just what a Rubik's Cube of a person that I get to play, and having so much fun with all of the different sides of her, and how do they come together, when do they show up, how do they show up, what is the honest and grounded version of this. I didn't want to make her hyperbolic, I didn't want to make her just scary. I really wanted to make her human and real.
Instead of relying on exaggerated horror tropes, she built Nikki from a place of empathy, vulnerability, and emotional truth. It's the reason so many viewers walked away, remembering the character, not because she was terrifying, but because she was tragic.
It's terrifying when you don't know somebody's intention, and so whenever Nikki is kind of sporadic in her nature, it's really terrifying because you don't ever know where she's coming from, and that really plays into the horror aspect of it. And obviously, being Nikki was so incredibly terrifying because to pop in and out of yourself, you kind of shock your nervous system. So that really played into a role of playing her authentically, because it would be really scary to be doing this and then out of nowhere, you know, jump out.
Because Obsession didn't create Inde Navarrette's talent, it simply gave her a role big enough for the world to finally notice it.
And so I got the Obsession script, and I was like, wow, I've never resonated with a story more. I've never understood exactly how to play a character. But obviously it's very challenging and very scary because of everything that was on the page and that Curry wrote. So I did the first audition. I was lucky enough to get a call back, and I felt as though it was the worst audition I had ever done. I said, I've learned a lot. And then I was lucky enough for them to bring me back for a chemistry read. And so I just kind of took that third chance and opportunity to really just give it everything that I could, because I really wanted to play Nikki, and I was lucky enough to get the role. And the chemistry read with Michael was phenomenal.
Sorry, you're sorry, please, I'm sorry.
When Curry Barker was searching for the actress who could bring Nikki to life, he wasn't looking for someone who could scream the loudest or look the scariest. He needed someone capable of carrying the emotional weight hidden beneath the film's supernatural horror.
I definitely remember the scene that has just gone viral because it was a clip that we posted of her at the restaurant. I was sitting in a booth, watching it on the monitor. It was probably like her second take, and it's the one in the movie. But I specifically remember looking at the monitor, and I said action, and she said no, and she held it for this. And I'm thinking, I'm like, hold it. Like, and then she says no. And I'm like, oh my God, this is good.
She was someone trapped inside a nightmare she couldn't control. That understanding became the foundation of every creative decision she made throughout the film, and ultimately, the reason her performance became the emotional heart of Obsession.
I really want audiences to feel empathy for her and to understand where she's coming from.
Oh, I don't know if you did anything to surprise me, but I think what was really amazing on set was the freedom that you gave us. It was your vision and your brain, and you would say, just be free with it. And sometimes that would spark like an idea, and then we'd kind of run with that.
But confidence like that doesn't appear overnight. Long before audiences associated her with psychological horror, Navarrette was simply a young actress trying to find her place in an incredibly competitive industry. Born and raised in Arizona, she grew up in a multicultural family with Mexican and Australian roots. Experiences that helped shape the perspective she would later bring to her work. Like many aspiring actors, her early years weren't defined by instant success, but by learning, auditioning, and slowly building the confidence to trust her own instincts in front of the camera. One of the first major turning points in her career came when she joined Netflix's 13 Reasons Why as Estella de la Cruz. Entering a show that already had a massive global fan base was no easy task. Any new character introduced in its later seasons faced enormous expectations, yet Inde managed to make Estella feel sincere and emotionally grounded. Rather than trying to dominate every scene, she focused on quiet, believable emotions, allowing the character to grow naturally throughout the season. It wasn't the kind of role that demanded explosive performances, but it taught her something just as valuable: the importance of subtlety. If 13 Reasons Why introduced her to a worldwide audience, Superman and Lois gave her the opportunity to grow as an actress over time. Playing Sarah Cushing across multiple seasons meant she wasn't portraying a character for just a few weeks of filming. She had the rare chance to watch Sarah evolve through friendships, family conflicts, heartbreak, and personal growth. That kind of long-form storytelling challenges an actor in a completely different way. Instead of delivering one memorable performance, you have to make every emotional change feel believable over dozens of episodes. Looking back now, it's easy to see why those years mattered. They gave her the patience, emotional discipline, and confidence that would later become essential for playing someone as psychologically complex as Nikki. By the time Obsession arrived, Navarrette wasn't a newcomer hoping for one lucky break. She was an actress who had quietly spent years preparing for the role that would finally reveal just how much she was capable of.
Yeah. Is it enjoyable to watch yourself on screen? Ooh. Or are you like a little cringed out?
I think it's for both. I think like I don't mind watching myself back because there's some moments where I'm like really proud of myself, and then there's other moments where I'm like, this isn't for me, like this is for an audience member.
I love that Curry was very structured in what he wanted. He was very specific. He wanted a specific way. And then whenever he wanted freedom, he wanted freedom. So that allowed me to know the moments that I could be free.
If there was one decision that defined Inde Navarrette's performance in Obsession, it happened long before the cameras ever started rolling. To her, Nikki wasn't the villain of the story. She was a young woman trapped inside a nightmare she couldn't escape. Someone whose identity had been stolen while the real person remained buried underneath. That perspective became the emotional foundation of everything she did on screen.
But we did one, obviously, because there's kind of like a multitude of characters within Nikki. So to be able to find somebody that can ping all of those, the audition process was very interesting because it felt like you were playing, you know, so many different people or auditioning for different people. So we had one where it was, you know, the sweet beginning, her, the wish hasn't been made. Then you have the wish that was made that kind of is a little bit unhinged, but just maybe just like a really clingy girlfriend. And then you had the utmost, you know, Act 3 climax of what that character is.
To bring that idea to life, preparation became far more than memorizing lines. One of the most unusual exercises came from director Curry Barker, who encouraged her to spend time experimenting with Nikki's expressions in front of a mirror. The goal wasn't simply to look frightening. It was to discover subtle facial movements that felt unsettling while still hinting that the real Nikki was desperately trying to break through.
Whenever I read Obsession, I really knew that this was a character that I wanted to play. I also knew it was so different than what I had done before. I knew I was capable of it, but there's also so many moments where like he has to trust me, I have to trust him, and so it was really fascinating finding that like in between of the way that I read Nikki and the way that he imagined Nikki. So kind of bleeding those together, and then obviously we have what the finished product was, but it was lovely being able to try out different things with him.
I mean, Curry's a writer and director, so he has envisioned this since day one. He's the one that put pen to paper to create this world, so he was kind of the first person to understand where he wanted it to go, and of course there's my additions to that on how far I'm willing to take it, and him and I just had multiple nights where we would watch films.
Admitting that after spending so much time making those expressions, she actually managed to scare herself. It's a funny story, but it also reveals how committed she was to finding the character instead of settling for easy horror cliches. That creepy, weird face you see didn't just came out of nowhere. It came from her multiple efforts and insane amount of dedication. That's the reason those smiles feel so awkward, scary, and weird, which is exactly what the audience was supposed to feel.
I think that with him knowing that like he's beginning and everybody on set is also beginning, I think it could have created a dynamic much different than the dynamic that we had. And the dynamic that we had was everybody was willing to prove something. So everybody was working to the highest of their ability with such fun and grace, and it was great. It felt like a little military group of the speed that we were working, because we had a mission to get this film done, and the spearhead of that being Curry. He did it in such a way where he knew exactly what he wanted.
That same collaborative spirit defined her relationship with Curry Barker throughout production. Although he had written the film with a clear vision in mind, he never treated his actors like they were simply there to follow instructions. After capturing the scenes exactly as written, he often encouraged the cast to experiment, giving them the freedom to discover small emotional moments that weren't necessarily on the page. Instead of forcing Nikki into a fixed interpretation, she was allowed to shape the character organically alongside the director.
He has a hard time with horror, fun fact.
I'm sensitive.
Yeah.
I can not watch it, I can do it.
Yeah.
We were at the premiere watching the movie for the first time, and this girl had her eyes closed.
Her chemistry with co-star Michael Johnston also played a huge role in making the film believable. Between takes, the two often explored different ways of approaching scenes, searching for reactions that felt more natural than rehearsed. Their mutual respect extended beyond filming itself, that while watching an early screening of the finished movie, she found herself emotionally affected by Michael's performance, a reminder that both actors were constantly pushing each other to deliver something more honest.
What was your first impression of me on set?
It was very, very professional, very serious. What about you?
I remember you bringing in a protein shake and shaking it up.
Yeah.
And me thinking, this man works out. Are there M&M's in this?
They didn't have my secret ingredient.
I think we really wanted in the story for the obsession to only come strictly from the wish, but I do think that had Bear been honest in that car scene in the top of the film about how he felt about Nikki, that Nikki and him might have had a go at it, because you know she's like hinting a little bit, he's hinting a little bit.
By the time filming was nearing its end, it had become increasingly clear that Inde Navarrette wasn't simply giving a convincing horror performance. She was creating a version of Nikki that felt heartbreakingly real, a performance so compelling that it would eventually influence the film itself.
I loved filming the ending. I felt very light afterwards because I think this film, a lot of Nikki's performances are a lot of emotion that we don't get to show on a day-to-day basis, and I think to portray that was very freeing. I was driving home on the freeway when we sang this song, like, I'm like a bird, I wanna fly away.
When Obsession was finally released, audiences weren't just talking about the film's unsettling atmosphere or shocking moments. Again and again, one name kept appearing in reviews, discussions, and social media posts: Inde Navarrette. Critics praised her ability to balance fear with vulnerability, while viewers found themselves feeling something they rarely expect from a psychological horror film: genuine sympathy for a character who could have easily been reduced to just another terrifying presence. And that's exactly why her performance stood out. A slight hesitation, an empty stare, or a subtle change in her voice could communicate that the real Nikki was still fighting beneath the surface. Even during the film's most disturbing moments, she never completely abandoned the character's humanity. It was this emotional balance that made Nikki feel unpredictable, heartbreaking, and frightening all at once.
Like, how did you approach when you took down this road? Did you approach it like that, as like post-wish Nikki and pre-wish Nikki?
No, I think that us as people, we kind of feel like two different people. Like, I feel like a completely different person whenever I'm alone than I am like right now with you, or like hanging out with friends or family. I think that we all have different people inside of us, and within a relationship, sometimes that other person can come out. So I really wanted to be like, oh, okay, so this is what triggers her, this is how this is coming out, this is how she is this way. And Curry and I, with the physical nature of things, really had fun finding different faces and like how long to hold them. I've heard a lot of people being like, it looked like the movie was paused, and that's literally being like, hold it, hold it,
Yeah, right.
hold it. And then like, you know, your eyes are open so a tear might come out, which adds to like the dauntingness of the characters.
Perhaps the strongest proof of her impact came from director Curry Barker himself. After seeing what Inde brought to Nikki, he ultimately decided to change the film's original ending. Because her performance had revealed new emotional possibilities for the character, that's an extraordinary level of trust for any actor, especially someone still at the beginning of their career. It speaks volumes about how much she contributed, not just as a performer, but as a creative collaborator. Today, there are already rumors linking Navarrette to future Marvel projects. If those opportunities become reality, they would be more than deserved. She has shown that she possesses the screen presence, emotional depth, and versatility to thrive on a much bigger stage. But at the same time, I hope she never leaves independent films behind. Movies like Obsession give actors the freedom to take risks, explore uncomfortable emotions, and stretch themselves in ways that big franchise films often can't. They're the kinds of projects that reveal an actor's true range. And for someone as talented as Inde, continuing to balance those intimate stories with larger Hollywood productions could be the key to an extraordinary career. Because sometimes one performance doesn't just introduce an actor to the world, it reveals the artist they were always capable of becoming. And if Obsession is any indication, Inde Navarrette's most memorable performances are still waiting to come.